Hi, everyone. Good Monday evening to you. It is the Valley's most in-depth, geeky, nerdy weather forecast video weather for Weather Geeks on this Monday evening, and things are a little on the cool side for now, but that'll change in a couple of days. We've got a little taste of summer coming at the last minute before we turn the calendar forward to astronomical fall or autumn by the start of the upcoming weekend. First things first, a quick review of today, which was kind of a ho-hum day. We had some sun, we had some clouds. We had a sprinkle and a shower in a couple of spots. Not a lot of rain out there, but it was kind of a changeable sky throughout the day today. As of a little after 7 o'clock, we have one more little band of showers coming in off the lake, impacting some of our northern communities. This has been some lake-enhanced and lake-effect rain shower activity. This is the kind of setup that will give us lake-effect snow showers, of course, in the winter season, but it's September, so we're talking rain showers. When you look at the water vapor imagery, kind of the upper-level flow, you can pick out the kind of twists and turns and curlicues coming down through the Great Lakes, and each of those can kind of enhance uplift over those warm Great Lakes and produce some clouds and at times a little precipitation. There was even a handful of water spouts visible up over Lake Erie, especially east of Cleveland, earlier on today. All right, pretty soon we're going to be talking more and more about fall foliage. Now, right now, of course, in our area, the color is still pretty low. Some patches here and there. Some trees tend to, develop color a little faster than others. And generally speaking, this is all just maybe a little bit behind schedule, especially in the northern Great Lakes and up into New England. The colors are usually a little more pronounced up in here by this time of the year in northern New England, but they've had kind of a wet go of it for a lot of the summer season, and that's kind of delayed the onset of the foliage season a little bit up there. As far as what to expect going forward, now this is kind of a forecast for about a week from right now, with still low color expected in most of eastern Ohio and western PA. But you can see the colors should be really popping by the start of that final weekend of September out across the northern parts of Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, northern lower Michigan as well, and even in areas that are a little behind schedule like Vermont and Maine, we should see an increase in color in about a week. Of course, around here, if you've lived here for a while, you know that we typically see our peak fall color mid to late October. Some years it's closer to mid-October, some years it's closer to Halloween. If I had to pick a 10-day average, it's usually somewhere between, say, the 18th and 28th of October as far as the true peak of the foliage around our area. It gets a little bit more colorful, a little faster, of course, once you head up into the higher terrain around and north of I-80 over into Pennsylvania. Now, one of the recipes for vibrant colors is a relatively dry pattern in the lead up to that peak foliage season. We've certainly had that so far in September. We've had very little rainfall in eastern Ohio and western PA, less than half of our typical rainfall through the 18th of the month in a lot of our area, especially in our Ohio counties. It's been a little bit wetter in our Pennsylvania counties and especially east of I-79. But yeah, it's been a pretty stark contrast to that pretty wet month of August that we did have. All right, we've got a decent Tuesday coming up. It's going to be cool, but we'll call it a mix of sun and clouds for our Tuesday with high pressure drifting around. No more lake effect rain showers. It looks like on Tuesday we should be dry from start to finish. Wednesday and Thursday also looking good, and you'll start to really notice the warm-up by Wednesday afternoon as we get into the middle and upper 70s by Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday as well. Our forecast gets a little bit tricky as we head towards the weekend. Why is that? Well, the modeling is suggesting that there's going to be an area of low pressure that tries to develop off the coast of the southeast. It may even take on some tropical characteristics. Basically, a stalled front at this time of the year over the southeast is a breeding ground for some sort of tropical mischief. And some of the modeling would suggest that late this week into the weekend, there it is right there, kind of a low pressure system will form down here. What does that mean for us? May mean very little. It may mean that our forecast needs to trend cloudier for the weekend, and maybe even we have to add a chance for showers at some point from the weekend into early next week. But our confidence is really low at this point, so we kept the forecast kind of as is, which is mostly dry this weekend. But at the very least, there may be an increase in cloud cover from the east for a time this weekend, and worst case scenario, maybe some showers try to creep up the spine of the Appalachians and just sort of graze our area at some point over the weekend. So stay tuned on that if you have outdoor plans this weekend. Right now the forecast dry. We're going to keep an eye on the trends for the next couple of days with regard to that potential kind of East Coast system. As I mentioned, right now our forecast is dry, and aside from those showers that we had earlier today, right now we have a dry forecast ongoing through the weekend into early next week. So the dry pattern that we've had so far in September likely to generally continue for a while. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, autumn officially gets underway. Saturday morning, it's a little after 2 a.m. The daylight hours on Saturday will be very nice. It looks like at this point anyway. keep an eye on that East Coast thing. But right now we have a partly to mostly sunny forecast with temperatures in the mid-70s on Saturday, the autumnal equinox in the Northern Hemisphere on Saturday. And, it's cool for now, and it's going to be cool again tomorrow. But generally speaking, going forward, this is a pretty warm-looking pattern for September, probably through the end of the month. Maybe an occasional cool down here and there, but generally it's a pretty mild, if not warm-looking pattern from Wednesday through month's end. Will that trend continue into October? I doubt it. It's only the 18th. We'll have our first kind of October outlook coming up in the next few days, but I would suspect, my gut feeling is that October will end up much closer to average, maybe even cooler than average. A much different month probably than September's going to end up being. I think September's going to end up being a warmer than average month by a fair margin. October likely to be quite a bit different. That's kind of typical of an emerging El Nino. Speaking of El Nino, we're going to be talking much more about that in future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks, including the run-up to our winter forecast, which will be coming out in about 5 or 6 weeks. El Nino is going to be one of the key players for that winter forecast, no doubt, this year. That'll do it for me tonight on this Monday evening edition of this geeky, nerdy weather video. I'll see you right back here on Tuesday. Go Browns tonight, and have a great rest of your night.